All right.
We good? Are we on?
We're on.
Are we recording, people? Well, check it out. This is Mayor Omar. Y'all already know. This is What's the Word? This my homeboy, my guest right here. Brother Strauss, what's the word? You know what the word is today? Skate parks. The word is skate parks. What's the word? Skate parks. What's going on, my brother?
I love that
How
name.
you doing,
what a
man?
surprise. What a great...
Welcome to the first episode of the What's the Word podcast. I thought about that like last night. I was like, what?
Well,
I was like, you know what? I could just do different podcasts and call it What's the Word, because whatever the word I think of, that's the subject for that podcast that day.
Well, today's subject is the bird is the word.
The bird is the word. That's right. SkateBird Miami.
Wait, that doesn't... I got to show you this. We got some cool things.
We have an audience. Everybody's cheering. Everybody's happy for SkateBird Miami. What's the word? The bird is the word. What bird? SkateBird. How you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing great.
Everything good?
I'm actually so happy that we're testing out this great podcasting facility here at the Multi-Tab Gaming Lounge that we've got at SkateBird. And
so tell me about the Multi-Tab Gaming Lounge.
It's really awesome. It's one of my closest friends for now about 12 years from the skateboard world. She's a transgender competitor. She's really defied all odds, and I've known her. We helped her get into the longboard racing scene, and she's been a really big inspiration to a lot of people across the country. She skated across the country, and she came down for a 24-hour ultra skate race that we do at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
Okay.
Last year. I hadn't seen her in about two or 3 years. She was off the grid. She came here and she says, "You've built an amazing community space. This is like amazing." She came for the race. The race is actually next week. You know,
really?
so it's 1 year that she's here. And she goes, "How could I help you out? What can I do? I want to just support, like whatever it takes." Wow. I said, "You know what? Let's do some gaming. Why not? You know, let's let the kids come in, let them edit some videos, let them be in a podcasting room, let them race Formula One racers."
Listen, look, and these people don't even know because they can't see, and maybe next time or one day in the future, you know, we'll do like a blog where we walk through. But she's built an amazing space. Like, it's absolutely amazing. It's high tech, high class. It's beautiful. The layout is beautiful. The interior decorating is beautiful. It's comfortable the way it looks, the way it feels, and she has many machines in there.
Yeah, I mean, you could race any car you want.
It's really nice. It's really nice. It's really wonderful.
And it really flows really well with our space. You know, it gives kids a breather from being out in the heat. You know, they go into the gaming lounge, they get to disconnect a little bit, and you know, we don't like it for everybody to be in those video games, and the reason why we did SkateBird was so that they could get. But at the end of the day, they're learning a good value. Yeah. They get to come and host a podcast.
Yes.
They get to edit some videos that they shot outside. You know, those are things that are very important, because a skateboarder in the history of skateboarding, the only reason they've been so resilient is they've been the most connected to the device, right? So as long as the device gets better, which iPhones are, their filming capabilities get better, which content is king today, you know. So these kids get a platform just because they could film the cool tricks that they do.
Absolutely.
And it's just it's awesome, and I'm happy I got you to come in here and test this out.
Well, I appreciate it. Shout out to iPhone. Shout out to Android also, because you never know who you might get sponsored by later. Shout out to Mac. Shout out to Androids. Shout out to all y'all. But listen, not only do you have this space in here, but let me just say this to parents. Come to SkateBird Miami. We're going to get deep into like how everything got started in a second. But coming to SkateBird Miami, not only can you, as you just heard, not only is there a space to where you can rent out a podcast space where we're at right now, wonderful. You can come in and there's gaming here. You can do that, which is really wonderful. But
video games.
Yeah, video games.
Not gambling games.
No, that's video games, of course. It's a skate park, people. It's a skate park. Video games. You can come here and do your video games here. But not only that, you can come here, and even though we call it SkateBird Miami, and we know it's a skate park, but that's not all you can do here. You can skate park. You can skateboard. You can roller skate. You can inline skate. You have the non-motorized push scooters for the little kids that are not ready to get on the skateboards yet. And you can BMX bike here also.
As long as it's got wheels.
Yeah.
And actually now we're going to introduce a new one. I think everybody remembers those Heelys. The shoes from the 80s and 90s that had wheels on the bottom.
Look at that.
They just sent us a whole bunch of them for kids to test out and start skating in here with their sneakers, basically. I don't know what's to come of it, but I think it'll be really cool.
So you can do so much, and so I think that's really important to point out, because parents, you know, if you're at home and you know your friend comes over with her kids or his kids, and they say, "Hey, let's go to the skate park," and you're like, "Oh, but they're too young to roller skate." Oh, but they can do the non-motorized scooters. They can do the Heelys. They can do BMX biking. They can do roller skating. They can do inline skating. And a lot of parents love to roller skate because they remember back in the day when they used to roller skate during the disco era. So you can come, you can roller skate while your child skateboards, or your child does the non-motorized scooters. Your child does the Heely while you can inline skate. So it's something for everybody, and it's kind of like an all-in-one entertainment place, because not only can you do that, but women, you can get your nails done. Can they get their nails done?
Yeah, we have So the beauty is we've created like a street culture community center. So it's like a curation to the next generation of skaters.
Absolutely.
What people don't understand is you don't have to skate to be a skater or feel part of the community. You have to be part of all the ancillary components that happen to it. You know, so music is a very big, crucial point of our space. Art, street art is a very important thing in our space. Fashion is very important.
I was going to get to that
Skateboarding always influences all those things. And so we're giving the next generation access to those platforms.
That's perfect. And speaking of fashion, I mean, look at my shirt. I heart El Patel right here. You guys see that? I heart El Patel. That comes from downstairs. Look at his shirt. He has a SkateBird Miami shirt. That comes from downstairs.
And actually, we're embracing community with these. You know why? The I Heart El Portal idea, obviously, the most famous of it was the I Heart New York or I Heart Philly, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
the idea came from Stevie Williams, which is one of the best skateboarders of all time, from Philly, made it big, became the owner of DGK. Yes. He's here once a month. He's here in the park.
Yes, we were chilling the other day with him.
He said, "Why isn't there an I Heart El Portal shirt?" I said, "There can be tomorrow because we've got a T-shirt press."
And you guys just made it happen. Look, I appreciate this. Y'all see that? I Heart El Portal. Shout out El Portal, mayor of El Portal in the building. If you didn't know, now you know. But I just want to say this, you guys. So this is a place where you have wonderful. You can do everything. Also, when you're hungry, you don't have to leave. What do you have here to eat?
So we have it's the best. We have
A
pizza
mixture.
and burgers
A mixture.
and Mediterranean food.
And Mediterranean food also.
Let me tell you, the Mediterranean food is obviously the healthy option,
Yes,
right?
of
Because
course.
moms were complaining when we only had pizza, so we said, all right, we got to put in the Greek salads and and pitas instead of like that heavy, greasy bread, you know.
Exactly.
But the pizza, I've had New Yorkers come here and say, "Why is this pizza not in New York City?"
Oh my Lord!
And it's amazing.
It's amazing.
And we just added burgers now.
Yes.
And the smash burgers they're phenomenal.
Oh my Lord!
And we're hoping that adding those extra elements will make it draw more people.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've kind of embraced the fact that yes, we're a place for skateboarders, but we're a place for skateboarders and all of their friends
and all of the family too,
and
the
whole
parents
family.
and everything. Because not only when we talk about the pizza location, which is Yeti's, right? When you talk about the pizza place, and you guys have to come try this hot honey Hialeah. I mean, that hot honey is so good. It's a masterpiece. It makes everything taste good. You want to put it on everything, and they sell it for an additional price on the side if you want a little side of it, a little teeny side of it.
They have a little honey bear.
They have a little honey bear. Yes. But let me tell you, the pizza place is not what you guys think it is when you hear pizza place. The pizza place is not only pizza, but it's a bar also.
Yeah.
So you can get cocktails, mocktails. Also, on these hot, humid Miami Days, you can also get snow cones. They're wonderful.
And ice cold beer.
And ice cold beer.
Which is branded by the park. So it's a SkateBird beer.
It's absolutely amazing. And the burger place, the smash burgers are so good. The other day I had like one of the chili ones. I had a chili cheeseburger. You know what I mean? It was too much, man. I was like, oh, this is so good. But not only is it burgers, but you can get chicken wings there.
Yep.
You can get like
you can get a vegan burger.
You can get a vegan burger. You can get all types of fries. They have like truffle fries, Cajun fries, regular fries, cheese fries, loaded fries,
lemon pepper
fries. They have all type of stuff there, so you can get everything there. There's so many things. Like he said, the Mediterranean spot, which is like the healthy option, her menu is top to bottom. I mean, it's not like she sells 2 or 3 things. Her menu is like it's a huge menu. She has everything there.
And what we've done is we've taken pride where we're partnering with locals. You know, locals that have these ideas that maybe can't do it in a strip center or in Wynwood, which is very expensive or what have you, and we're bringing them in and embracing them and creating this great culture village of partners that are expanding and growing.
And this place is amazing. When you come here, there's the airplane hangar. It's a humongous location. So let's back up real quick. How did this idea even start to percolate within your mind? And how many skate parks do you have worldwide, and where are they located?
So I started in the skate park building industry in 2014, where we built a park for a developer in New York City, in Williamsburg. And I pioneered bringing pump tracks. Pump tracks are like a style of park. We have one here at SkateBird actually. But it's and it's for those in Miami that have been to Hollover Beach. That was a park that I built. But anyway, it's a bunch of rollers, so ups and downs and turns, so that it's like a never-ending loop. It's basically I call it the ski resort for wheels, right? You just keep going in one direction. And so I pioneered that into the U.S. I brought the first ever park. It was in Williamsburg, and there. We had to, the exchange was, yes, the park was paid for and what have you, but we had to operate it. So I had to figure out how to operate it from afar, living here in Miami. So I hired some very passionate kids. We started operating it. We had bikers and that. And I started noticing that culture starts coming to these kind of spaces, you know, like people want to do film shoots and photo shoots, and the brands want to host parties, and families wanted to have birthday parties. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And there was no, like, it was all outdoors. There was no amenities there, you know? And we were making it work without any amenities. Wow. And it was really awesome. And then that gave me the opportunity to start building public parks for different municipalities. And I started like thinking, I'm like, wow, we need amenities when I do it. So I would design these beautiful parks, right? Like what you see here in real. We would do these renderings. And it was like the $3 million dream for XYZ city, right? Municipality. And all of a sudden, the municipality would come back and say, this is beautiful, but how much does it cost? And you say, it's probably going to be a $3 million. They're like, we only have $300,000 in our budget. And I'd be like, oh, no. And then I'd say, we need to have something because, so I said, all right, let's scrap the roof structure. Let's scrap the little sales centers so that locals could rent space from the municipality. Let's scrap the beverage concessions. Let's scrap the rental area that we thought about, and let's just leave the grayscape, you know. And then I've built 62 other parks like this, right? And every single time you sell them the $3 million dream, they give you a $300,000.
You have to kind of bring it down a little bit.
And so SkateBird was, after I had done about 35 or 40 of them, I said, you know what? My friends, close friends of mine that I grew up with and family were like, you do so many cool things. How do we invest? How do we get a part of it? How do we just help you out? And I was like, you don't. The cities hire me to come in and build what they want, you know, and that's it. And they were like, no, there's got to be another way. And then I said, you know what? I had approached the former mayor Cubillos about doing something in El Portal because it's very close to home for me. I live in Surfside, and I said, and maybe I could convince El Portal to do the right justice. And Mayor Cubillos back then said, our village can't handle paying anything. Like we don't even have $1 to help.
Yeah.
But we'll support you if you want to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, wow.
Shout out to Mayor Cabillo. Shout out to Claudia, my homegirl. Claudia.
And manager Lou was then
yes.
was already in as the chief of staff for the village and as the village manager, and she was like, yeah, skate park in El Portal could be awesome, and she also mentioned, because you always get the stigma that skate parks are for hoodlums and street rats, right?
Yes.
She's like, oh, we could put it in the annexed area, so that way if the residents don't want it, they can't even get there. They're gonna think it's Miami anyway, and that was always funny. And I was like, just wait, if we build this thing there, it's gonna make a great thing. It's gonna draw people, you know.
Absolutely.
And I said, okay, so I went back to all my friends and I said, guys, we have the opportunity. I don't know if we're ever gonna really make money on it, but you guys said you wanted to help me and you wanted to change and make a change. Let's do it. So I started doing research and I said, if we're gonna do it right, we really need to brand it like for the area we're going to. So I did a little research, and El Portal turns out to be Tree City, USA for Florida. But it also has the most bird species of any other municipality in the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
So I was like playing with names. I was behind the naked carpet guy, you know, like Don Bailey. And I was like, should we just call it the Naked Carpet Guy Skate Park? Should we call it just Skate Park? Should we just call it the El Portal Skate Park? Should we call it Where Miami Meets El Portal? Things like that. And then I was like, wait, let's pay real homage. We have this bird thing. SkateBird. It sounds like skateboard. The biggest bird of them all is a guy that every single person in this world knows, Tony Hawk. You know,
Hawk, bird.
Tony Hawk. He is the bird. His company is called Bird House.
Oh, so
you know, and that's the one that sells all the most skateboards of any. And, and so I was like, SkateBird. That's perfect. That's what it is. And SkateBird could maybe grow one day to be a huge brand around and if not, it could be like the coolest spot in the world to come to. So whenever you come to Miami, you have to stop in El Portal and go to SkateBird. And that's what I did. And I knew that if I would bet on skateboarding has always been the trendsetter. You know, for the 3 pillars of street culture: art, fashion, music. Right? And I saw how Soho in New York, it got built off the back of skateboarding. You know, a brand named Supreme. Supreme is a skate brand. But Soho became famous because Supreme started there back in the 70s or early 80s, you know? Williamsburg, when we built the park in Williamsburg was still very industrial. It was a dead zone. It was drug addicts laying around. This is in 2014, you know? Over those next 5 years while the park existed there, not only did the developer get bigger density credits because of us, because the community was really there, they were able to build higher rises. We built this booming community that changed it. Like now you go to Williamsburg and it's probably the #1 neighborhood in all of New York City, you know, and it's in Brooklyn. And so these are really cool things that I've taken with me and seen, and I said we really need #1 to fix skateboarding. We need to impact the youth, right? Because there is no real program behind youth skateboarding, and we need to make it fun so that everyone in the community can embrace it, and then fix the problem of all the public skate parks, which is amenity-less spaces, which still do it, but they don't draw the families like we're doing. So like now, mom is happy to come here with their kid. #1, we have coaches that help educate them and teach them skateboarding. #2, we have other programs, ancillary things that they can do if they don't like skateboarding. But mom can sit and chill under shade. She can
really nice.
Order a Coca-Cola. Or if she really wants a glass of wine and she's not driving, we recommend that you sit back, relax, and have a glass of wine. And it really has been great. And then a lot of brands like Red Bull has come here and done a really cool culture-driven event. Yes, I acknowledge we brought in some events that were not the right events for it, but now we really have this great identity with the culture pros and with where it is, where we don't disrupt the neighborhood. We are just enhancing it. And that's really what the mission of SkateBird is. How do we build it? And I like to toot my horn because now it's public and everything. And really the culmination of my case study with SkateBird, because listen, the Cavista building came up. Who knows? I know that they hadn't planned on building yet when SkateBird started. I know they were in the processes, but what if that incentivized them to do it quicker? You know, I'm pretty sure it did help them think along. And the number one real estate entrepreneur in the world is moving into our town.
Right here, right next door.
And that one I can take credit for.
You can't take credit for that one, my brother.
And this is incredible. Adam Newman.
Yes, Adam Newman
has not only bought the trailer park
for $70.5 million.
And I think there was a really goodwill cause there because the people that lost money on that because it was a big court actually are getting all their money back because of the price that he spent on it. Of course, So that's super positive. And number two, the sanctuary is finally going to be activated.
Exactly, and that's been there dormant on the largest and probably most important intersection in El Portal. Right there.
Dormant since what? Since like 2011 or earlier?
No, since for like the past 20-something years, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So,
for a long time.
So I can't take, SkateBird can't take full credit. You have to take a majority of the credit because you've done incredible, Mr.
I
Mayor.
appreciate that, my brother.
But I think SkateBird can take 2% of the credit.
SkateBird can take a lot of the credit because once you put something in a community that's so beautiful and so different and stands out so much, it makes other individuals want to be around it and want to build around it. And I know you said earlier about, you might have had some events here that might not have been the best. But, I think that those type of events, though, are necessary. The ones that may have a large crowd, the ones, because otherwise, how are people going to know about this space? How's the word going to get out regionally and nationally if you don't have, musicians come here that may be popular and bring their crowd and see what a cool space this is? Because a lot of times people won't know it's even here. But once you see it, you're like, wow, it blows your mind when you walk in. It's so large and beautiful and amazing. You're like, I've never known about this place. So I think that, just moving forward, I have ideas to somehow, kind of scale things up slowly maybe. But I really want this place to be known as far and wide as possible. So I think that's something that...
Wait a minute, I got the chills.
I think that's something we're going to look into. As a matter of fact, there's something going on Saturday that I'm going to be doing with some other individuals. And I think it's going to lead to what my ideas are with allowing you to bring more elements of more events back over here. So I think that'd be a wonderful thing, man. That'd be a wonderful thing.
From your mouth to God's ears, that's for sure.
But at least I have the power of the mayoral pen. All right, so when it came to the design, so you said you were doing the renderings. Did you get somebody to do the renderings for you, or are you like the artist?
No, I sketch on a paper napkin.
Okay.
I say I want this, and it looks like this, and then I go to professionals. This SkateBird Miami was sketched on a napkin with a very famous architect, Nick Jelpy. He's a local guy here now. He lives here. He lives in Miami Beach. And with Nick, I chose Nick because he's there's architects that are very good at what they do, right? But you need the ones that are like way out of the box. And so Nick had designed some spectacular things for Wynwood that none of the developers in Wynwood really went for. And he had all these models in his office, and his daughter went to school with my daughter. So when I went to visit and I saw these things, I'm like, wow, this guy can really interpret me, And so we sat down and I said, Nick, I need this place to be spectacular. I want shipping containers because I want to show that recyclable nature. I don't want brand new shipping containers. I want the ones that are getting thrown out.
It looks wonderful. It looks wonderful.
Because I said, if I put these shipping containers up and they're brand new, I'm gonna take a sledgehammer and I'm gonna bang the hell out of them anyway. I want it urban, rustic.
Yes.
And I said I need it partially covered, if not all covered.
Yeah.
And so Nick knocked it out of the park. He drew this thing, and we went with it. And then our skateable spaces, we have a rendering guy that works a lot with me when we build all the other parts. It's also local here in Miami, local skateboarder that turned architect. He lives today in New York City, working for a big firm doing Starbucks design.
Oh, look at
right?
that.
But Andres Alzate, that's his name. He helps me on a bunch of renderings that we do for cities.
Okay.
And so I explained to him. I said, listen, we're number one. It's a private location, so we're gonna have to close it. So we need to have it enclosed. I don't love closing spaces because they've seen, but here we did it right.
Yeah, that was fun.
I said it needs to be at a super pro level in one area, and then my pump track in the other area. So I sketched out the pump track how I wanted it. He knocked it out of the park.
That's wonderful.
Interpreting it. Yeah. And then this I said, think Street League. And Street League it was founded by Rob Dyrdek, which is a really big time skateboarder, and probably the most successful skateboarder of all time. He started this league of like a pro league, right, where the pros travel around the world, and it was right around when we designed it. It was right before COVID. It was actually like crazy that I decided to do that because in COVID, Street League normally goes to all the big stadiums.
Okay.
And since COVID hit, and that's when we started building the whole space, they couldn't go to the stadiums. The stadiums were closed.
Wow, that's true.
Or the stadiums wanted too much money for a skateboarding event.
Very true.
So we were able to bring Street League, one of their big events, here while we were still under construction. I don't know how. I thank God every day. I don't know how the village manager and you, Mr. Mayor, allowed us while we're in construction. Yes, we made it safe and everything. We had the permits and everything, but like no place in the world, and there's only one explanation to that. You know, like it's really like God was with us there. You know, and we brought the I think it was like the 20 best pro men were here. It was on ESPN2, and I see those videos now, and the containers aren't even painted yet. There were no windows up. It was all empty. It looks super cool. It looks like they're in the middle of like some warehouse district that's been abandoned. You know, and but in this super pro park.
Yes.
And the videos that we have, the tricks that they did. Now we show those tricks because we filmed the whole thing. We kept a lot of the footage. We didn't keep the ESPN footage. I wish we would get that one day, but we had our own videographer, and today we show the kids the tricks that these guys did, and so kids like 7-year-olds now are doing the tricks that the pros did, and it's awesome, you know.
That's amazing, man. That is amazing. That's so amazing. When you talk about just like the skate park, it being designed and things like that. How long have you yourself been a skater, and how did you get into skating?
So I loved to skateboard when I was a little kid.
Okay.
But I born and raised here in Miami. So I grew up around the water, and my dad's a swim coach, right? My dad has actually taught more people how to swim in Miami than anybody else. Over 85,000 kids have learned how to swim at my dad's hands, you know? My dad's today 72 years old. He'll be 73 in June. Wow. And he's a staple in the Miami community. Like, everybody knows him. And my dad never has turned away one person, no matter how wealthy they are or how poor they are. There is no excuse when they show up on my dad's pool deck. They're taught how to swim.
Yeah.
Because drowning is a big problem, right? Yeah. And so...
How old were you when you learned how to swim? Like 6 months?
The second the umbilical cord came out, I was thrown in the swimming pool. There was no like worrying about when the vaccines come or the kids are going to get... That was the 80s, you know? That didn't matter.
Exactly.
It was I guess it takes 3 days or 4 days for the umbilical cord to fall out. Day 4, I was in the pool.
Yes.
You know?
And then that's a whole nother podcast that we'll do another time. Because the way kids are looked over today, I mean, back when we grew up, it was like go outside and just be back before dark.
Yeah.
And you took your bike. You didn't worry about getting kidnapped. You didn't worry about. You took your bike. You went through the wood. You went wherever with your friends. Yep. You know, and as long as you were back before dark, your parents didn't worry. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like, where are you going? When are you going to be back? I want the phone number to where you're going. I want the address to where you're going. It's absolutely insane.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But anyway, so I would skate a little bit. Like every kid, 10 out of 10 kids get a skateboard. So I would skate on in my front driveway, things like that. I was never very good, right? And every time I would want to start progressing, or like I'd go with my friends to a skate park or to a spot, my dad would say, remember, your championship swim meet is coming up in 2 weeks. Don't go break your ankle.
Exactly.
Little did I know that today's stat, skateboarding in a skate park or in a safe environment is as dangerous as playing tennis. You know, so that's the injury rate, right?
Yeah.
So I never really skateboarded, but then when I went to college, the longboard boom, you know, like the bigger wheels, you know, the skateboards for cruisers, like cruiser mentality style, was really booming. This is
that's
2000.
like my son. My son loved the longboards.
And my bike got stolen at college at UF. I was swimming there, right?
Okay.
So I said, man, I don't want to get another bike stolen. Like, I don't want to spend another, so 150 bucks.
That's it, longboard.
Got me a longboard. And I said, forget it, I'm going to get around town. I was going faster. I didn't have to worry about locking because I could carry it into my room.
Absolutely.
I didn't have my dad telling me that the championship swim meet is coming because he's not there. You know, he's in Miami. I'm in Gainesville. And so I skated then, you know, and I used it as transportation. I didn't really do the park stuff, right? And then I came back to Miami, and I had stopped. I really didn't skate anymore. There wasn't really nothing I was thinking about. I didn't connect that I could use it as transportation or whatever. And I started producing action sport events here in Miami.
Oh, wow.
And I created this thing called Board Up Miami, which was a wakeboard music festival at the Marine Stadium.
Oh, wow.
And that ran for 8 years. But in 2010, 2010, wakeboarding was the boat wakeboarding because the economy crashed in 2008. Boat wakeboarding was in bad business at that point, and it was all shifting to cable, but there were no cable parks really. So I said, I'm not going to keep doing this event. I need to shift my focus. And I remembered my longboard, right? And then a good friend of mine, they owned this store that had a wave in the middle, flow rider, Adrenalina. And they said, we're selling a lot of longboard skateboards, and you do events. Can you come up with something that'll work? I said, how about a skateboard race? And they're like, that's great. I'm like, yeah, let's do like a 1 mile or 2 mile race. They're like, 1 mile or 2 mile. I'm like, listen, the kids don't even skate to the skate park today. They go on the bus.
Exactly. Yeah.
If we make them skate a mile, I could see maybe convincing them. We throw a couple $100. My friend's dad, he was like way out of the box, and he goes, let's make them do 26.2 miles, a marathon, and let's give them $20,000 a prize purse. You think that'll drop? So in 2010, I said, I was like 5 years out of college. I was like a young kid. I was like, you want to do it? Let's do it. Let's go. I'm ready to ride the wave. So we did it, and we hosted the first one. It became a world tour. We did 5 events around the world.
Wow.
But we did the first one here in Hollandale Beach at their store in Gulfstream. And I changed the kid's life. I still talk to him. He's an owner of one of the longboard brands. He won that first race, Jeff Vine. I changed his life. He was living in a basement with like 8 friends in New York City, working for one of the companies. And he won that 26-mile race and took home $17,000. And I changed his life. And so from there, I started like saying, wow, we got to do more of these races. So not always full on prize money, but let's have them. So I created the governing body of skateboard racing. And then I started skating a lot, like just for transportation, and I wanted to show and all that. And then all of a sudden in 2014, we had done 4 years of races. It had grown to like 40 races worldwide of these skateboard races, marathons, 5Ks, miles, 24-hour races, all this stuff. And I got into the Tourism Bureau network, right? And Tourism Bureau, this is 2014, and that's how I got the lead in New York. And then things, and they said, what can we do? We want to host an event, one of these events that are booming. I go, yeah, but I don't have the bandwidth to keep doing more events. Like they don't really generate a lot of money. They just generate a lot of community. And doing one event and going away for the year, it's hard to grow. So you're talking 100, 200 kids that come, but you don't have a sustainability model. And they're like, well, can you build a facility that at this tourism bureau? They go, can you build a facility that is usable all year round, and maybe you could host your race around that, and then it'll stay? I was like, yeah, of course I can. I had no idea how to do it, or where I was going to do it, or how I was going to do it. I didn't have an architect license. I never built a thing in my life. Like, yeah, growing up, I built a tree house, and I built little, I would make a bow and arrow and mess around, but I never built a place that the public is going to use. But I told them yes at the Tourism Bureau. So then came the time where Oklahoma City wanted one, and Leavenworth, Washington wanted one, and Hood River wanted one, and I was like, how the hell am I gonna do it? So I really thought fast, and I started building these parks. And we were building them, and so I wanted to start skating them, right? So the pump tracks, which were the first parks I was building, I was like, I could ride these things. I ride all over the street on it, and I started. I had the companies that were friendly with me in the industry. I said, make me a board like this or like this, and so we started like perfecting the cruisers, right, from the longboard side, and all of a sudden all the longboard brands started making like skateboards, and I was like, man, why are you guys going back? You guys have all this great R&D. I'm getting to tweak how it looks and everything. They're like, no, the kids are buying the short boards, and I was like, you know what, let's try. So I started riding the pump tracks, and I got really good, and then I was like, I gotta get better at it. So this is like 2018.
Okay.
I'm like, one of the cities, Kanab, Utah, came around, right? And they said, we love the pump tracks, but our kids are asking for a skate park. You think you could do both? I was like, yeah, of course I could do both. I didn't even think it twice. So I built the first ever hybrid skate park with pump track.
Wow.
And I started skateboarding in a skate park. I was 35 years old.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
First time ever in a skate park, really, because when I was younger, my dad would tell me no.
Tell you.
Now I'm skating. Now I'm learning how to drop in. I'm learning how to do all these things at 35 years old. I said, man, we need a curriculum because I'm having so much fun teaching myself. But what if I could teach thousands of kids? And when we built that one in 2018 in Kanab, this was like April. In May, all of a sudden, a school in China calls me and says, you know how to teach skateboard lessons? I said, yeah, of course I could teach skateboard lessons. They're like, we want to build a park in our school. And so I was like, done, let's go. So I built it over the summer, and in 2018 September they opened to the public in their school, and it helped their school. And I kid you not, 2,000 kids learn as PE skateboarding in this school in Ningbo, China. I developed the curriculum because I told the school that I could do it, and so I gathered resources and got friends that knew what to do, and so I'm good. I grew up in a swim coach's house, so I said I know curriculums. I could build one. I could think about development and child development, and that's what my dad preaches all day long. So it's like second nature, and I built this curriculum, and that's what I was so proud. So when I was in China and then COVID hit, and I was thinking about SkateBird happening, you know, this is 2019, December. I was in China when COVID hit.
Wow.
And I was like, man, my world is over. I can't just keep traveling back and forth to China. And so that's when I really like pushed Mayor Cabillos and I said, I need the approval to get this done because I don't have much more time to be in China. And of course, 2020 March came and I couldn't go back to China. I'm happy that I went back to China for the first time this past summer.
Okay.
The school is booming. I had been virtually helping them to tweak the curriculum and everything, which was super hard. But I've had 3 years here at SkateBird where I get to work with our coaches and we're tweaking it. And I'm proud to say right now, this last semester, I really worked with one of our coaches. I asked them to stay a little bit extra. So for the whole semester, we were fine-tuning what our learnings have been from China and from here. And we have a curriculum now that it's getting designed so we could share it with the whole world. Like, forget about what we do in SkateBird. I mean, we have 150 kids in the program. Hopefully we'll have 300 kids one day. But I want to touch the masses. I want to give skateboarders opportunities to say, hey, let me see if I can use that curriculum that SkateBird developed and that Jonathan developed and let's use it in my local park in Wisconsin or in Spain or wherever. And right now we have this 5-level curriculum that's going to get released that takes a kid from like 0 to hero.
Wow.
And I hope that one day, if God willing wants it to happen, we'll be in every single school around America. Where we'll be able to share this wealth of knowledge and let it be PE. If it's working in China with 2,000 students, every week 2,000 kids come to the park and get a class, a 1-hour lesson.
So good.
Why can't that happen here? And what I have to break through is here in the U.S. they have this thing called risk management, but the risk managers don't realize that it's as dangerous as tennis. And every school in America has a tennis court.
Well, that needs to be your line right there, because I didn't know that until you said it. When you say that, it sounds much more safe than you first think about it when you think about it. And so the last thing I kind of want to touch on with you before we end is what do you think and how I know what you're gonna say about what you think probably. I'm thinking I know. But how proud of you and how do you feel about skateboarding and these type of quote unquote X type of games period now being accepted into the Olympics and being championed in the Olympics after all these years, actually giving like the respect that they actually finally look at these things as real sports.
So the core skateboarders are gonna hate me if they ever watch this, but I tell you, it's the best thing that ever happened to skateboarding.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you come from my perspective as to what I want to impact in skateboarding has gotten to where it is because of that core market, because the cool, right? The I can do this and you can't like mentality. The guy that's super resilient because he's never had anybody teach him or do anything. You know, he figured it out on himself. So that's like a huge value in life. Yes. Like if you can figure things out, great. So those guys say, screw the Olympics. That's stupid. It's like
it's like too commercial.
I tell you, we have to take the learnings of what these core guys did.
Yeah.
We have to in order to reach the masses, you have to kind of like plant the seeds in the majority of kids. It's the same thing in all sports, you know, like the best guys are always going to figure it out no matter who their coach is.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so many more people have to get that. Why? Because the value of sport, the value of what skateboarding does is it's such a good thing. Fall down, get back up again. So the Olympics really put it on the map. It gave it a marketability that doesn't exist.
Yes.
And it's unmatched. Yes. And even if the Olympics are hurting because not as many young people are watching it, now with skateboarding there, the youth is watching the Olympics again. Yeah. And so now you're talking about over the years, I could explain it this way from the marketability. 10 out of 10 kids get a skateboard. To this day, with just that core mentality of the marketing, like the marketing stunt is what does it. Yeah. Less than one of those 10 kids, less than one. So it's less than 10%. It's probably like 1%, really, buys a second skateboard. That's what the trend is.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But the Olympics being here, places like SkateBird that are doing education, we're talking 3 more of those 10 kids are going to buy the second skateboard. So things like the Olympics, we're talking 300% growth in an industry. Yeah. It's like unheard of. Like that's what these core kids need to understand. Like today, there are no jobs in skateboarding. Yeah. But if we 300% grow the market, now there's jobs for skateboarders. Now there's things that the economy just boomed for the skateboard world.
I think it's interesting. I think this is part of a larger discussion for like another podcast maybe. But I think it really is interesting the dynamic between when something's created and how the individuals before it gets popularized, how individuals feel like this is ours and therefore they feel like it's more organic and more real and more authentic. And then once something becomes more popular, then they feel like it's not as authentic from those who populated it, right? But at the same time, before it becomes popular, you do have individuals that will start businesses within that, within that realm. And they're almost the individuals who wanted to stay quote unquote small and authentic. They want others that have businesses in that realm to be successful, right? But yet they don't want them to sell out. So it's like walking a fine line. It's like if these individuals who are authentic skaters or surfers or snowboarders or whatever, if their friend opens a skateboard or surfing or snowboard, company, they want their friend to be successful, but they don't want the sport to be too popularized. But if their sport was really popular, your friend would be even more successful.
Correct.
So it's like, what do you like? It's like a sketch. But that happens in everything. I mean, we just saw that, I don't want to date this podcast, but we just saw that, recently with the whole Kendrick Lamar and Drake thing.
Right.
Drake is seen as like the popular pop star aspect of hip hop, where like the true core hip hoppers were like, well, no, Kendrick's our hip hopper. He's about lyricism and art and reality and da da da. He's not about this pop singing. Singing is not even hip hop. Like singing's not rap. How is singing rap? So there's that dynamic, and I think that with a lot of things throughout history, once things do get really popular, then there's like a pushback, and that's the Kendrick Lamar aspect of it. Once things really get popular, you're gonna see another swell of individuals saying, "We want our thing back to where it used to be the first time."
Right.
And that happens, I think, with everything.
Let's just get Kendrick on a skateboard. And
he would be perfect for that, right? Well, listen. We've talked this. We appreciate it. Here's something for us. There you go. We got some music.
Look at this round of applause.
There we go. Round of applause. What was the word? The word was the bird. It was SkateBird. What's the word? Episode 1. We'll be back again, you guys. We're going to try to do this like maybe a couple times, 2-3 times a week. We'll have new words for that day. The word is the bird for the day. We appreciate it. Mayor Omar, we got Brother Strauss, Joner. If you know him, call him Joner. Brother Strauss, we'll see y'all next time, all right? You guys take care. Peace.